Before anything else, look at your dashboard and answer one question. Is your check engine light steady, or is it flashing? If it's flashing, pull over and stop driving. That's not caution. That's the single most expensive mistake in this entire video, and I'll show you exactly why in a few minutes. Flashing means damage happening right now. Steady? Good. Then you're in the right place. And there is genuinely one check engine light you can reset yourself in about 30 seconds for free, standing in your driveway. It's real, it's common, and I'm going to show you exactly how in the next 90 seconds. But I also have to tell you the hidden button videos won't, because it's the difference between saving money and failing your state inspection. Clearing a check engine light and fixing a check engine light are two completely different things. And doing the first one at the wrong moment guarantees you fail an emissions test. Not might, guarantees. So let me be straight about what this video is and isn't. This is not a video about sneaking a broken car past an inspection. That doesn't work. I'll show you the mechanical reason it can't work. And in a lot of states, trying it is outright fraud. What this is, the one legitimate 30-second fix. The reason a shop can charge you $120 to read a number you can get free in 5 seconds, the 8 repairs that cause most check engine lights in America and what each one really costs, and the exact words that keep a diagnostic fee honest. One more number to set the stakes because it just moved. The average check engine light repair in America hit a record $554 last year, up 33% in a single year. Knowing which of these you can handle yourself has never been worth more. Gas cap first. Here it is, and it's almost insultingly simple. Go tighten your gas cap until it clicks. I know. But stay with me, because the reason this works is genuinely interesting, and the number of people driving around with a lit dashboard over this is enormous. Your car has a system called EVAP, Evaporative Emissions Control. Its entire job is to capture the gasoline vapors in your fuel tank and route them to be burned in the engine instead of escaping into the air, and that system is sealed. Your car actually pressure tests it periodically, all by itself, while you drive. Now, what's the single largest opening in that sealed system? The one you personally open every week, your gas cap. Leave it a click loose, or let its rubber seal dry out and crack, and your car runs its self-test, finds the leak, and does exactly what it's designed to do, turns on the check engine light. And this is not a rare edge case. The Car Care Council reports that roughly 17% of vehicles on the road have gas caps that are loose, damaged, or missing entirely, and that this leaks around 147 million gallons of gasoline into the air every year, roughly 1 car in 6. Look around the next parking lot you're standing in. The codes it sets, so you recognize them. P0440 is a general EVAP fault. P0442 is a small leak. P0455 is a large leak. That's the classic loose or missing cap. P0456 is a very small leak, a pinhole. And P0457 is the one some cars are polite enough to name outright, an EVAP leak specifically pointing at the fuel cap. And on some vehicles, your dash will literally say, "Check fuel cap." So here's the fix. Start to finish. Go out to your car. Take the cap off. Look at the rubber O-ring seal around it. Is it cracked, flattened, dry and hard, or missing? Wipe any dirt or fuel residue off the filler neck, because a piece of grit under that seal is enough to fail the test. Then thread the cap back on and turn it until it clicks. Most caps click as they reach the right torque, and the rule of thumb is 3 clicks. That's the 30 seconds. Now the honest part about what happens next, because this is where people get confused and give up. The light does not go off instantly. There's no button, and you don't need one. Your car will rerun that EVAP self-test on its own, and when it passes a few times in a row, it turns the light off by itself. That typically takes 3 to 5 drive cycles, which in normal life means a few days of ordinary driving. So, tighten it, then drive normally for a few days, and watch. If the light goes out, that was it. You just fixed a check engine light for $0, and if you'd taken that to a shop, you'd have paid somewhere between $100 and $200 for a technician to do what you just did. If it doesn't go out after a week of driving, your cap seal is likely shot. A new one runs about $15 to $40. CarMD's data puts the average around 28, and it's the cheapest repair on the entire check engine list. And if a new cap doesn't fix it, then your leak is somewhere else in the EVAP plumbing. A cracked hose, a purge, or vent valve. And that's a real diagnosis, usually starting with a smoke test. That's the honest 30-second reset. Real, common, free. Now let me show you the trap that the just clear it crowd is walking people into. Because this next part is the reason a lot of people fail their emissions test and have no idea why. Search "turn off check engine light" and you'll find a wall of videos promising a free 30-second trick. Disconnect the battery or plug in a cheap scanner and hit clear. The light goes out. Problem solved, they say. Here's what actually just happened inside your car. Your engine computer doesn't only store fault codes. It also runs a set of self-tests called readiness monitors, up to about 11 of them depending on your vehicle. There's a catalyst monitor, an EVAP monitor, an oxygen sensor monitor, an EGR monitor, and so on. Each one has to run and pass before it reports ready. Some run continuously. Others, the important ones here, only run under very specific conditions, certain speeds, certain temperatures, certain fuel levels. And when you clear codes, or disconnect the battery, you don't just erase the fault. You erase every one of those monitors back to not ready. Now, here's why that matters more than the light itself. State emissions inspections don't just check whether your light is on. They check whether those monitors are ready. In New York, in Texas, in most states following the federal standard, a 2001 or newer vehicle fails if more than one of those non-continuous monitors is not ready. Older vehicles from 96 to 2000 get a little more slack, too. California is stricter still on newer cars. Essentially, only the EVAP monitor is allowed to be incomplete. Read that again, because it's the whole point of this section. Your car can have no check engine light, no stored codes, and still fail inspection, purely because you cleared the codes recently. So the guy telling you to clear your light before your smog test hasn't given you a hack. He's handed you a guaranteed failure, and just drive it until they reset is harder than it sounds. The rough rule is about 80 miles of mixed driving, or roughly a week. But the two slowest monitors are exactly the ones you need: catalyst and EVAP. Some GM vehicles want up to 5 drive cycles at highway speed. Some Toyotas need a specific pattern, a stretch at 40 to 55, then a stretch at 35 to 45. And the EVAP monitor on many cars won't even attempt to run unless the car has sat overnight with the engine cold, 8 hours. The outside temperature is above 40 degrees, and your fuel level is between about 1/4 and 3/4 of a tank. That last one is worth repeating. There are cars that will not complete their emissions self-test if your gas tank is too full or too empty. Not a joke. That's why people fail. Drive 50 miles, fail again, drive 100 more, and still get turned away, which is exactly what real owners describe on the forums after a battery disconnect wiped everything. And a drive cycle isn't just starting the car. A proper one usually means starting cold, genuinely cold, not restarting a warm engine, idling a couple of minutes, easing up to about 30, cruising steadily for 5 to 10 minutes, decelerating without touching the brakes, idling again, then shutting off. Miss a step and the monitor may not run at all. So let me put the honest version plainly, since nobody else in this search result will. Clearing a code is not a repair. It's deleting the message. The fault is still there. It will come back the moment the car retests. And in the meantime, you've blinded your own emission system and set yourself up to fail an inspection. There is exactly one time clearing a code is the right move, after you've actually fixed the thing that caused it. New gas cap installed, new plugs in, repair done, then you clear it, drive the cycles, and confirm it stays off. That's using the tool correctly. And one more consequence people don't think about. This one costs you money at the shop, not the test station. When your engine computer sets a code, it also takes a snapshot, a photograph of exactly what every sensor was reading at the instant the fault occurred. engine temperature, RPM, vehicle speed, fuel trims, load. It's called freeze frame data. And to a good technician, it's worth more than the code itself because it tells them the conditions the failure happened under. Clear the code, and that snapshot is gone forever. This is why mechanics genuinely groan when a customer says, "I cleared it before I brought it in." You didn't just erase a light, you erased the evidence. And now the shop has to wait for the fault to happen again before they can even start diagnosing, which means more diagnostic time on your bill. So write this one down. Read your codes. Don't clear them before a shop visit. Take a photo of the code and the freeze frame screen with your phone if your reader shows it. You'll pay for less diagnostic time and get a better diagnosis. Now the number in the title. Why does a shop charge $120, sometimes $200, to look at a check engine light, when the parts store down the road does it free in 5 seconds? Because those are two completely different services, and the gap between them is where you either save money or get taken. Here's what the free scan actually is. AutoZone, O'Reilly, and Advance all offer a free code read. At AutoZone, it's branded Fix Finder. Someone comes out, plugs a handheld into your port, and in about 5 seconds it pulls your check engine codes, often your ABS and maintenance codes, and, this part is genuinely useful, your readiness monitor status. They'll print it or email it to you. That last bit means you can check whether your monitors are ready before you drive to an inspection station, which is worth the trip by itself. What that free scan is not is a diagnosis. It gives you a 4-digit code. A code names a system that complained, not the part that failed. P0420 doesn't say, "Buy a catalytic converter." It says the computer thinks catalyst efficiency is below threshold, which could be the converter, a lazy oxygen sensor, or an exhaust leak upstream. 3 very different bills. And here's what a real diagnostic fee buys, when it's honest. A technician pulls the codes, checks manufacturer service bulletins for known issues on your exact vehicle, then goes testing. Live sensor data, fuel trims, wiring, vacuum, sometimes a smoke test. That's skilled labor with expensive equipment, and shops will tell you diagnosis is the hardest work in the building, the job that needs their best technician. Charging for that is completely fair. Typical numbers right now. Independent shops generally run somewhere in the $20 to $160 range, dealers $100 to $500. Industry estimates for check engine diagnosis commonly land around $120 to $230 in labor. One ASE master technician publicly breaks his down as a full hour at $145 an hour, $155 with tax, for a complete diagnostic protocol. That's a fair price for real work. So how do you tell the honest fee from the ripoff? One question, asked before you authorize anything. What specific tests does that fee cover, and will I get the codes plus a written list of what you tested? An honest shop answers that easily because they're planning to do real testing and they have nothing to hide. A shop that's about to charge you $120 to plug in the same scanner AutoZone uses will get vague, and that vagueness is your answer. 2 more scripts worth memorizing. If I have the repair done here, does the diagnostic fee apply toward the repair? Sometimes yes, sometimes no, and it's a normal question. Even manufacturers acknowledge the fee is customarily folded in when the work's done there. Ask up front so it's not a surprise on the invoice. And the one that saves the most money in this entire video, for the most expensive repair on the list, before we replace the catalytic converter, can you confirm you've ruled out the oxygen sensors and an exhaust leak? I'll explain in a minute why that single sentence is worth over $1,000. Here's the actual answer to this whole category, and it costs less than one diagnostic fee, one time, forever. Buy an OBD2 reader. Every car sold in America since 1996 has the port, under the dash, driver's side, usually near your left knee. A basic Bluetooth dongle that talks to an app on your phone runs anywhere from about $15 to $60. A standalone handheld reader is in the same neighborhood, and many have a dedicated readiness monitor button, which after this video, you now understand the value of. What it gives you: the code, in your driveway, in 10 seconds. Freeze frame data on better units. And monitor readiness status so you never again drive to an inspection station on a car that isn't ready. Understand what that changes. Right now, when your light comes on, you're walking into a shop knowing nothing, which is the single worst negotiating position in car ownership. With a reader, you walk in and say, "I've got a P0442 small EVAP leak, and I've already replaced the gas cap." You've just skipped a diagnostic step, narrowed their search, and made it obvious you'll notice if the invoice doesn't match the problem. That's the whole game, not never pay a shop. Never pay to be told a number you could have read yourself. Quick, honest aside, because the reader tells you the code, and then you still have to know what to do with it. That's exactly what the Complete Driver's Defense Kit is built for. The OBD2 guide covers the 15 codes you'll actually meet, and for each one, what it really means, the cheap cause to rule out first, and the exact question to ask a shop so a quote can't get padded. The Dashboard Lights Guide ranks every warning by how fast you actually have to act. Steady versus flashing, stop now versus schedule it. There's the 20-minute fixes guide for the jobs you can genuinely do yourself, each with an honest, "when this won't work" box, the noise chart, and a printable fair price card that lives in your glove box for exactly the moment somebody quotes you a converter. 9 guides, $39, one time. First link in the description. Now, the 8 repairs that actually cause these lights. Every year, a company called CarMD publishes an analysis of millions of real repairs. The most recent one covers over 39 million repairs from last year. This is the actual ranked list, with real average costs, and it's the most useful thing you'll see today. Number 1. For the second year running, the catalytic converter, averaging $1,511. And here's the thing, every owner needs to understand about that number. Catalytic converters rarely just die of old age. They get killed. An engine misfiring, or running too rich, dumps unburned fuel into the exhaust, and that cooks the converter from the inside, which means the most expensive repair on this list is usually the consequence of a cheaper repair somebody ignored. Fix the misfire when it's a $200 coil, and you never meet the $1,500 converter. That's also why the question I gave you earlier matters so much. A P0420 code is the computer saying converter efficiency looks low, but a worn-out downstream oxygen sensor or an exhaust leak can produce that same reading. Confirm those are ruled out before anyone orders a converter. Number 2, historically, oxygen sensors, a few $100s, and one of the more DIY-friendly jobs with the right socket. Worth doing promptly for a reason most people don't know. A failing O2 sensor can hurt your fuel economy dramatically. CarMD has cited losses of up to 40%. That's a sensor that pays for itself in gas. Ignition coils, around $256. Spark plugs, around $299. These are your misfire repairs, the cheap fix that prevents the expensive one. And the fastest diagnostic trick in the business. If cylinder 3 is misfiring, swap that coil with cylinder 4. If the misfire moves to 4, you found your bad coil in 5 minutes. The EVAP purge valve, around $172. The next stop after your gas cap in the EVAP family. Fuel injectors, around $572. Thermostat, around $324. And new to the top 10 this year, ABS wheel speed sensors, around $314. Which tells you modern cars are throwing more codes tied to braking and traction systems. And notice what dropped. The gas cap fell out of the top 5 for the first time since 2011. Not because caps stopped failing, because more people finally learned to check them first, which is exactly what you did at the start of this video. Back to where we started, because this is the part that can cost you the $1,500 repair in a single drive. A steady check engine light means the computer logged a fault. A flashing check engine light means damage is happening right now. Here's the mechanism. Flashing almost always means an active misfire, a cylinder that isn't burning its fuel. That unburned gasoline doesn't just disappear. It goes straight out the exhaust valve into your catalytic converter. And a converter is designed to run somewhere around 400 to 800 degrees. Dump raw fuel into it and it can spike past 2,000 degrees, hot enough to melt the ceramic honeycomb inside into a solid, blocked lump. That's the whole story of how a $200 ignition coil becomes a $1,500 converter. About 20 minutes of driving with a flashing light. So, the rule, no exceptions. Flashing light. Pull over safely, shut it off, and get it towed. Do not drive to the parts store for a free scan. Do not make it to work and deal with it Friday. A tow is $150. The converter is over $1,500. And the rest of the triage, so you're never guessing. Stop now. Flashing light, or a misfire code. P0300 for random misfire. P0301 through P0308 naming a specific cylinder, with the engine shaking or stumbling. Also the red temperature light and the red oil pressure light, which aren't check engine lights at all, but get lumped together in people's minds. Those two mean stop immediately. Fix soon, but you can drive. P0171, running lean, which is often a vacuum leak or a dirty airflow sensor. Genuinely worth fixing, because long-term lean running causes damage. And P0420, catalyst deficiency. Annoying, not urgent, and the one where you make them rule out the cheap causes first. Monitor it. The EVAP family. P0440, P0442, P0455, P0456, P0457. Your car drives completely normally. The consequences are a lit dash, slightly worse mileage, and an emissions failure. Fix it in the next week or two, starting with the cap. And the crowd I need to say this to directly. If your light has been on for 2 years and you've stopped seeing it, that's a real cost, not a personality quirk. You're potentially losing fuel economy every single tank, and you have no warning system anymore, because the light that would tell you about a new problem is already on. Spend the 10 seconds on a free scan. You might be one gas cap away from a clean dashboard. Rapid fire. I disconnected my battery and the light went off. Did that fix it? No. That erased the code and every readiness monitor. The fault is still there, it'll return within a few drive cycles, and if you go to an inspection now, you'll fail on not ready. Battery disconnect isn't a repair, it's amnesia. My light came on right after I filled up. Extremely common, and the best news in this video. You almost certainly didn't seat the cap. Go click it, drive a few days. I tightened it and it's still on after 2 days. Normal, give it 3 to 5 drive cycles. Several days of real driving. If it's still on after about a week, look hard at the cap seal, then replace the cap. Can I just drive with it on? If it's steady and the car drives normally. For a short while, yes, but you're flying blind and possibly burning extra fuel. If it's flashing, no. Not one more mile. The shop wants $150 just to look at it. That's within the normal range for real diagnosis. Ask what tests it covers and whether it applies to the repair. But before you book, get the free scan and check your cap. People have paid $150 to be told their gas cap was loose. AutoZone won't clear my code. Many won't, and honestly that's fine. You now know you don't want it cleared before diagnosis anyway. Get the printout and keep it. Which reader should I buy? Any basic Bluetooth dongle with good reviews, paired with a phone app, does everything in this video. The feature worth paying attention to is a readiness monitor display. You don't need the professional-grade tool. My monitors won't set no matter how much I drive. Check 2 things people miss. Your fuel level needs to be roughly between 1/4 and 3/4 for the EVAP monitor to run on many cars, and the car needs a genuine cold start, sitting overnight, not a warm restart. And if there's a pending code lurking, monitors may refuse to run at all until it's resolved. Everything, one breath. Flashing light. Stop driving, get towed. That's the $1,500 rule. Steady light, go tighten your gas cap until it clicks. About 1 car in 6 has a bad one. Then drive a few days and let the car turn the light off itself. That's your free 30-second fix. Still on? Get the free scan at a parts store, or buy a $30 reader once. Read the code, don't clear it. Clearing wipes the freeze-frame evidence your mechanic needs and resets your readiness monitors, which is an automatic emissions failure. The only time to clear a code is after you've actually fixed the cause. At the counter, what specific tests does that fee cover, and will I get a written list of what you tested? And before any converter, have you ruled out the oxygen sensors and an exhaust leak? And the honest bottom line on the thing everybody searches for: you cannot clear your way past an emissions test. The monitors make it mechanically impossible, and in many states trying to game an inspection is fraud. The good news is you don't need a trick. The actual fix for most of these is cheaper than the diagnostic fee. Everything today, the 15 codes with their cheap causes, the dashboard triage, the fair price card, is in the complete driver's defense kit. $39. First link below.